Hey, Biff, I'm going to do are you there? I'm going to do a couple of coronavirus stories before Mary Ann. We haven't used the jingle update. If you have that, why don't we do that when I ask for it? If you don't, no big deal, but. Okay, if you don't, just tell me no and I won't worry about it, but.
Help at casaforchildren.org.
Throughout the Ohio Valley, back to school is looking different. Each day, parents, teachers, students, coaches, and administrators are finding solutions to situations that are unprecedented. All of us at the Highlands appreciate everything you are doing and are here for the items you need. Visit hitthehighlands.com for the current guidelines and updated contact information of our retailers and restaurants.
The Wheeling Area Chamber of Commerce and McKinley Architecture and Engineering urge everyone, support our local businesses.
Continuing coverage of the year America shut down continues on the Watchdog Morning.
Over and over. Presented by the Wheeling Chamber of Commerce, supporting our local economy, and McKinley Architecture and Engineering. 40 years of delivering experience and innovation to the Wheeling area and beyond.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey! Hey, buddy! Yeah? You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it!
Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go, 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure, I mean, you being a mountain climber and all.
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gellner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gellnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
That's one set of rules for you.
That's not fair.
And a different set of rules for me.
State Senator Mike Maroney. He has a completely different set of rules for himself. In his first term, Mike Maroney missed more than 400 votes. Missed votes on taxes, roads, and protecting children from abuse. You paid Mike Maroney out of our tax dollars, and he didn't show up for work 400 times. And last year, Maroney was arrested for soliciting prostitution. Do you think you could keep your job if you didn't show up for work and were facing criminal charges? This election in Senate District 2, you can hold Mike Maroney accountable for his 400 missed votes and criminal charges. Whether you vote early or by mail or on Election Day, vote against politician Mike Maroney. Paid for by Mountain State Values, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
From the Watchdog, here's your local weather forecast for your Thursday morning.
All right, I'm still going to do a COVID story first. So.
For your Friday, expect mostly sunny skies with a chance of evening rain showers and a high of 78. And that's your local weather forecast from the Watchdog.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Good morning, everyone.
Guess you don't know what today is.
No, please. Tell me. Please, tell me.
It's National Nut Day.
I used to be able to name every nut that there was.
This is nuts.
Peanut.
This is nuts.
Hazelnut.
Wait, I'm nuts?
Cashew nut. Macadamia nut. Pine nut.
But I'm not nuts.
Pistachio nut.
Let's not go nuts. You guys, you know what? You're nuts. You're all nuts.
Are we ready for the nuts?
Yeah, ready. It's showtime.
On air, online, on demand, and on video. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Here's what we are talking about or have been talking about so far this Thursday on the Watchdog Morning Show. Yesterday was early voting day number 1 in the Great Mountain State, and it was a busy day, from what I am told, around our local area and around the state of West Virginia, as a lot of folks want to get their votes in. Several local candidates are hurling accusations against each other. We were talking about the 2nd Senatorial District race, the Secretary of State's race. Our candidate interviews today will include current Ag Commissioner Kent Leonard. He was on with us earlier, and in only a matter of moments, Auditor Challenger Marianne Clater is going to join us. It's debate night tonight for Trump and Biden. We'll take a look at what we might expect to see on the debate with the muted mics coming up tonight. 19 new COVID cases in Ohio County yesterday as concerns continue to rise about COVID spreading across the country. Governor Justice set up Utility Bill Relief Fund yesterday, announced it yesterday. It's a federally funded project. The money's been around since April. He just announced it yesterday. I can't help but note that he announced it when there's just 2 weeks to go before Election Day. We'll also talk about holiday shopping, Rudy Giuliani with his hands down his pants, and will we ever go back to shaking hands? Weather-wise, well, we have a good summer-like day in store. Going to be close to 80 today, 78 the predicted high. But we're starting off with a lot of fog and some morning clouds. Eventually, a very nice-looking day is expected. It is currently 60 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 60 degrees here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, and 60 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Before I get to my guests, I want to get to a couple of quick COVID stories for you, bring up to speed on some of what we have to talk about this morning.
COVID-19 update.
Continuing coverage of the year America shut down continues on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Yesterday, we talked to Howard Gamble from the Ohio County Health Department. He gave us a little preview of this, and then after the show, the numbers officially came out. 19 new COVID-19 cases. 19 of COVID-19. I get that. 19 new COVID cases announced yesterday, including 2 students at Wheeling Park High School and a teacher at Wheeling Central as well. Now, of course, Wheeling Park is already on remote learning all this week because of concerns that were raised over COVID over the weekend. And Wheeling Central now is dealing with the teacher and during contact tracing and all that sort of stuff. The teacher at Wheeling Central tested positive on Tuesday, and so a few staff members at Central apparently have already been quarantined. They begin to do some disinfecting and so on at the school. So the Ohio County Health Department says 19 new COVID cases. We've had multiple cases, Biff, announced, I think, almost every single day for the last week or so. We're definitely on the rise. West Virginia officials are really getting concerned about the rise in coronavirus in the state and across the country. 60,300 new COVID cases just yesterday in the country. The 7-day case average in West Virginia, not in West Virginia, in the country, 59,500, the highest average since the beginning of August. Governor Justice said yesterday, the killer is all across our land. And the governor said, and I think he is right, I don't always say the governor is right, but the governor is right, odds are it is going to get worse. Now, West Virginia's numbers have held relatively steady over the last couple of days. The positivity rate yesterday was 3.36%. New numbers will come out here in 45 minutes or so. The R0 number was 1.04. That's up a bit from recent days. As we know, 1.0 means that, and below means that the spread is not occurring. Above 1.0 in the R0 number means we have community spread. So there are some concerns, some concerns there. Daily hospitalizations in West Virginia, 188. They are on the rise. And all across the country, folks are getting really concerned about hospitals. I don't know the exact number at the moment. A couple of days ago, there was a total of 42 states that had increased hospitalization rates because of COVID. And some hospitals are now beginning to get stretched thin already, as we were back in the beginning of the virus. So it is, again, I don't know if this is the so-called second wave or just an intensified first wave, but there's no question that somebody's waving. And we need to be overly careful, particularly cautious as we go by. 9:16 on the Watchdog Morning Show and 60 degrees. So that's our COVID update. Want to make sure I got those numbers out to you. I'm going to get to my guest in a second. Guess what I got here, Biff?
An egg?
I got an egg. I'm trying so hard to get my wife to get me sausage gravy and biscuits, and I went to, during the break, and I went in to try to sweet talk her, to try and, oh, honey, why don't we just get some, that'd be good. I think she's thinking about going out to do some early voting. I said, well, why don't you, when you go out to vote, maybe you can pick up sausage gravy and biscuits and bring them back. And she said, well, I'll think about it. And then a few minutes later, she brought me an egg. One lousy, hard-boiled egg. Hold on a second. I don't want to eat this while my guest is on, so let me just take a little bite of it here. Well, that's it. You've seen Monroe's breakfast now. It's so depressing. Just because I have heart problems, just because I had a pacemaker put in, just because they told me back in December they weren't sure they were going to be able to save me. Why, she gets all Twitter about this and says I've got to eat eggs and not an egg, and not my sausage gravy and biscuits. But I will keep trying. I will keep trying. All right, 9:17 on the Watchdog Morning Show. Marianne Clater is probably saying to herself, what the hell did I get in?
Yeah.
Guy's eating an egg on the radio. Marianne Clater is running for auditor again in West Virginia on the Democrat side of things. And she is with us to talk about her candidacy. Marianne, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. And you just gave a perfect example why we need a woman auditor.
So okay, I get it. This is your second time running for auditor, is that correct?
Yes, I learned a lot during my first run. I'm not political, and I don't think anything can change me to make me political. Unfortunately, this is a political, position, but that doesn't mean we have to have a person that's political. I mean, you just have to get out and talk to people, and so that I think as people hear the distinct difference between the two of us, that they will, most people say, that makes sense. the auditor should actually have an accounting degree.
The auditor's position is one of those positions where I would concur with you. I do want to spend a lot of time talking about the politics side of it, but it's not a political position. There are certain jobs, and they're jobs that require expertise. Treasurer, I think, is one. Auditor is another one. It doesn't make any difference if you lean left or lean right. I don't know what a Republican number is. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know how you look at the books in a Democrat way or a Republican way. You just look at the books, right?
Right, and and I'm the only one that's actually had experience being a real auditor also, and I've held politicians on both sides of the aisle accountable, and I've sat down and worked with politicians on both sides of the aisle, actually not knowing who was a Republican or Democrat. I mean, I just did a job. I didn't care, what party you were from. The state was paying me to do a job, and I was going to do it at the best of my ability.
Let's talk briefly about your background. You have been an actual auditor and accountant, but give our audience a sense of who you are.
Outside of being an auditor and accountant, well, I'm a mother, a grandmother, a preacher. I do prison, when COVID's not going on, do prison ministry work and nursing home ministry. Which I, greatly miss, but, we have to keep them safe, at
Keep
the time.
safe, yeah.
So that's one of the things, you just sacrifices we all have to make. I think when you met me in 2016, I had left the auditor's office, was caring for my son. He passed away in January. Because I really wasn't going to run again because it was very time-consuming, running a statewide campaign. And after he passed away, my husband said, you really loved what you were doing, and I think you can fix the problems. Well, he always says you can do anything you put your mind to. The doctor said that we would not be able to take care of our child at home, and I told him, let me show you how it's done. Because I'm going to take care of my child at home, and he deserves that. And West Virginia deserves the best that we have to give. I'm a fighter. I'm a person that doesn't take no for an answer. And I'll push you to an edge, I guess, so that you will do your job. I mean, because I told the doctor, stop looking at him with your eyes. I said, when God is ready for him to leave this earth, he will go. There's nothing I can do or the doctors can do. I said, but until that time, I just want you to do your job. And I've earned the respect of many doctors in several states from just taking that stance, doing what I could to protect my son. And that's the same thing I'll do as the next state auditor.
I'm not sure what I want to talk to you about as far as the job of the auditor, because again, it's a financial job. But I want to ask about one thing, which is, there's been a lot of controversy in this state over the CARES Act money, the COVID-19 money that's come into the state. The governor has kind of sequestered some of that for himself. To what extent do you think the auditor's office needs to be, more transparent in getting that information out to the general public?
Well, this is an issue that there are 14 state auditors that have joined forces together, both parties, except I haven't seen the West Virginia auditor join in this coalition. And they're trying to set a framework for this CARES funding and about how we're coming up with the numbers, So they're trying to do some data analytics to help mitigate the spread of the COVID-19. And some people may say, well, how would the auditor in West Virginia be able to be involved with that? Well, you know that it's the Board of Health that are responsible for reporting those numbers, and we do have auditing authority over the Board of Health. So that, that would not be an overreach if we wanted to get involved. But I think I commend those state auditors that are joining forces together to set up some type of framework for this. And another thing, when I'm taking care of my son, I perform financial statements for local governments. And I was listening to the press conference, I don't know if you call it one, press conference early on, and there were things that would just be red flags for me. So the $100,000 payment, he paid from his contingency fund. At that time, he said, oh, they can use it for what they want, some hero act, blah, blah, blah. And then, probably days later, after they got their check, he sent a letter that had it was more like a CARES requirement. So I contacted everyone that I could think of, trying to find out, is this state money? Is this federal money? Because federal money has different implications than state money does. And, schedules that we have to prepare. And I was told, oh, he paid it from his contingency funds. But I kept saying in my mind, I said, I think he's going to try to get reimbursed for that, because why would he put those stipulations on you all? Well, I didn't actually hear the press conference, but I saw like a recap. And he has now said that he's reimbursing his contingency funds from that CARES money. Okay, now the auditor's office has, told the local governments that was state revenue, where in fact, I believe it is, which I have held all the time, that I felt that it was, because when the federal government brings the money down to the state and the state passes it on, it stays the same. It's still federal. It doesn't turn into state just because the state.
And the requirements are the same. The federal requirements follow the money.
When he put those requirements on there, that's when I believe that it got converted to federal. So we may have some people who we consider a single audit is an audit when you reach $750,000 in federal awards, which I think next year we're going to have quite the mess on our hands. And a lot of the people don't, in their schedules that they prepared, they're not including that money right now. That could be money that would throw somebody into the $750,000. Or could not, and it's based on when they spend it. So several of them have not even spent it because they're kind of, they were like, oh, what do I do with this? Which I believe that is the role of the auditor also, to give the guidance that's necessary, because in local governments, we are supervisor of public offices. And in that capacity, we provide training. And that's something that I did as an auditor, provided training. I will be very proactive in that area, because we have got to get back to making our accounting great again, because that's what the auditors often deal with. Accounting and auditing, 99.99%, no matter how anybody wants to and then the transparency. We went and we borrowed whatever, went and got the checkbook program from the state of Ohio, and that helped increase our transparency in the checks that we issue. But we actually have an F rating in our subsidy reporting of the tax breaks that people are getting, and grant reporting. So this, if we would have brought that up to par, then during the time of COVID, we would have been in a better position. Everything would have been in place so that the citizens would be able to see who exactly is getting this money, as far as businesses. This stuff shouldn't have to be leaked out based on the press. All of this information should be available. We ought to be able to look at it, be able to look on the system, click, see an invoice. We as citizens, we pay for these services. We shouldn't have to pay to be able to get copies of records. So as your next auditor, I would do that, because I've been an auditor. I understand the importance of seeing underlying documentation. I understand the importance of the underlying information. Transparency means nothing if the underlying records aren't in a good condition so that everything is available. And I mean, most
Marion,
people think that
I
with that.
I agree with the words that you're saying there, and I think transparency is really important in all elements of government. Although I have to ask myself, and I ask you, do you really think the general public cares about seeing the documentation behind it? I mean, don't we basically just have to, no, we don't have to, but don't we, the general public, just want to be able to trust the person in position of authority to make the right decisions with this kind of stuff? I mean, we're not, unless we're a reporter digging into the files for some reason, people aren't going to go online or go to any place and look up the documentation. It's a good idea. I don't disagree it should be done, but I don't think it really would become useful to the general public.
Well, I think we have some citizens that do want to see that, and we need to make it available to them. But what I think is most important to them is that we have the auditor do their job and get those audits done in a timely manner so that it eliminates helps reduce the ability of someone to take the whole kitchen sink. They might be able to get the knobs before we get in. Currently, if you look at just the county numbers, when Glenn Gaynor left in 2016, as of March 31st, when you look at the 14-year fiscal audits that were behind, it was only about 11%. As of March 31st, prior to COVID, those numbers now, those numbers at that time of the 18 fiscal year audits have grown to 45% behind. So we need someone that's not going to be political. I'm not the type of person that's going to go out there and say, oh, I'm going to make this campaign promise and, I'm going to do everything that we can, but we're going to keep the quality of the audit up to par. We're not going to go through and just run through and do audits to try to get them done as quickly as possible. And that's where I feel like you do need somebody that has my experience as being an auditor, 30 years of experience in governmental accounting. Governmental accounting is totally different from financial accounting. Because I want us to keep the standard. I would be able to personally look through the procedures that the staff decide, okay, we're going to be doing as far as audit programs go. He wouldn't be able to understand that. He would have to rely on the people that he's been relying on that haven't been getting the audits done in a timely manner.
But Marion, J.B. McCuskey has been given a pretty good public rating, I think, on his transparency. He put additional transparency measures into effect. I think he did when he took office, and he seems to be recognized by folks who know. I don't know. I'm not enough of an expert to know that he's done a pretty good job with making things more transparent to begin with.
Yes, and in that area, but that's only a small facet. Just like you said, how many citizens are really looking at that? What's important I would feel, what's important, I guess, to the rest of us is that audits are being done in a timely manner. The governments are being able to have the resources, of proper training, of having centralized information on how to deal with different accounting aspects, because that's what this job is about. It's bookkeeper and the official and the supervisor of public offices, and that deals with their budgets of local governments and being proactive and not waiting till people start calling in saying, what do we do? What do we do? We need to be more proactive and get out that information about these type of accounting issues. So that's my main thing is we're going to run it like an accounting firm and not that someone that just happens to be able to raise enough money to get their message, out, and then when they're politically connected. I just believe we need to raise the bar, and West Virginians deserve to have the bar raised. And sometimes you have to just run for office yourself when you want the bar to be raised. I believe the citizens of West Virginia will not be disappointed at all if they elect me as their next state auditor.
Without reference to whether or not the current auditor is doing a good job or bad job, I'm not going to make that decision. But I do think it's really important for people to understand, because the auditor's office, again, is one of these offices that we just sort of know is there, and unless somehow we get connected to it, don't pay a lot of attention to it. The auditor's office very often is the first line of defense against fraud in our local governments, right?
Right. And back in 2010, Mr. Gaynor, he started the fraud unit. Before that, auditors like me, we would, if we discovered an embezzlement or there was a tip about an embezzlement, then they would send us in. Well, that takes away from being able to do the other audits. So he just decided just to set up a different division to handle those, which also included P cards. And one thing that, when we deal with the transparency, I haven't been able to find, we used to do audits of P card transactions. I don't see any of those online. We used to put out the fraud reports. The only time I see the fraud reports are on the very high, the ones that get a lot of attention. Then you see those audit reports, like there's a link thrown up. Whereas before, we just put them in with our other audit reports. So I don't know why that changed, or maybe it's somewhere else. Or our website really needs to be revamped so that regular, ordinary citizens that are not auditors and accountants will be able to find information and make it more user-friendly, and to make sure all those reports are out there that for anybody that might want to look at them to see,
Right. All right. Marianne, real quick, I need to run on, but is there anything else you want people to know? We know about your experience. We can sense your enthusiasm, that's for sure. I think you've outlined a couple of reasons why the auditor's job is important. Anything else you want the public to know come Election Day?
Well, just let them know that I am, I've been doing this 55 county bus tour, and the reason is I wanted everyone to know that each area is important. And when I become auditor, I will be going out and visiting every entity that we have auditing jurisdiction over, assessing their accounting needs. I won't be charging my travel costs for that because I feel like, I think that their salary is $95,000, and the average West Virginian, they're lucky if they make the medium income of, I think it's like 40,000. Who all of us really even know people that make 40,000? So I feel like that salary is enough to cover the cost of my travel, and I can personally assess that because I know accounting, and so it's not that I'll have to pull or pay for more people to assess those things, and I can have that conversation with them. I won't have to, which is important. Where did we get to the point that workers are, set to some type of lower standard based on their information? The education, they went and gotten this education for a reason. Why don't we use it to the best of our ability and not just think that having a figurehead to delegate duties that they really probably don't really have a lot of knowledge about, and that's why he concentrates mainly on things that a lawyer probably does. And whereas I concentrate
Marianne, I got to move on. People can find you on the ballot. You're running as a Democrat for the auditor's office. You are a Democrat and are running as an auditor candidate. You're not necessarily running as a Democrat for the auditor's office because, as I said earlier, I don't think numbers really count. Take a look at whether you're Democrat or Republican. They look at whether you know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's what I feel. Just if
I appreciate your time this morning. I got to move on. I'm way behind time. Thank you for joining us. We'll see what happens come Election Day, and that's coming quicker than we think. Appreciate it. Have a good day today.
Bye.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye. Marianne Clater is running for auditor on the Democrat ticket. And again, I say it that way. Look, the truth of the matter is there are certain jobs that I don't think really, it doesn't make any difference if you're a Democrat or Republican. If you support Trump or if you support Biden, if you're a liberal or conservative, you look at columns of numbers and you calculate and you add and you subtract and you look for forensic problems with numbers. Numbers are not political. Although I guess everything is political these days, huh, Biff?
We can make anything political, that's for sure.
Yesterday, the governor, I want to get this in before I take a quick break. Yesterday, the governor announced a $25 million fund to help people pay their utility bills. Customers who have natural gas or electric or water, sewer, those kinds of things that have had problems paying their bills because of COVID can tap this fund. Now, what is interesting is, and it's being paid for by this federal CARES money, the money that we got $1.25 billion with, and the governor has kind of shepherded and sequestered and held tight in his fist for this past year. The money became available in April, okay? The bills that you can collect on against this fund they announced yesterday are bills that you accrued from March to August, basically. And here it is, end of October, and now we're just getting this announcement. And if I may say so, I don't think it's a total coincidence that the announcement of this CARES money fund, which is not a bad idea, please don't get me wrong, I just can't help but think that the timing, less than 2 weeks before the election, it's another example of the governor being able to say, wow, look what I gave you. I got $25 million for you. Where's it been up until now, Governor, and why hasn't it been used for other things? And that's all I'm going to say about that. Amy Coney Barrett does receive the nomination, the confirmation of the Senate Judiciary Committee. That has just happened here in the last half hour or so. We will have an update on that from ABC News in our status report in just a couple of minutes. And we're going to check Metro News for your local headlines right now.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Biffy, I think there should be a status report which you can throw in here if you want to. Thank you. And I'll finish my egg. That's a crappy egg. Can't even have salt on my egg.
O'Reilly Auto Parts, your professional parts people. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The Pitt Panthers under Pat Narduzzi are 8-3 against the spread in their last 11 games as an underdog. They're plus 10.5 at Heinz Field on Saturday against number 3 Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish 48-21-1 all-time against Pitt. They have won 10 straight overall. Penn State a 6-point road favorite at Indiana. The Nittany Lions are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 Big Ten road games. Thursday night football, it's the Philadelphia Eagles, a 4.5-point favorite against the New York Giants, a total 45. While the Pittsburgh Steelers are now a 1-point underdog at Tennessee Sunday, the total 50.5. For vsin.com, I'm Mike Sennett on the Watchdog.
Just like they always do, Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands continues to serve the Ohio Valley. The Lube is still open for carryout and now offering their $10 meal deal every day of the week. Get one entree and one sidecar for just $10. Pick from steak, wings, ribs, and more. Call in or order online at thelube.com and follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on their latest specials and promotions.
West Virginia 211 makes a difference in the lives of thousands of West Virginians every year. Do you need help paying utility bills, finding housing, buying food, accessing job training, navigating veteran services, or dealing with an emergency or crisis? Call West Virginia 211 today to speak with one of our specialists. We'll make sure that you've got a plan and put you in touch with the right resources. Dial 211. West Virginia 211 is a program of the United Ways of West Virginia.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I love living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I'm loving living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
During Ram Power Days, Thomas Auto Centers has the best deals and the best reasons to buy new right now. Get 0% APR for 72 months on select new models. No payments until next year on select new models. And get a lifetime powertrain warranty, plus additional incentives for first responders and healthcare workers. Only at Thomas Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Get the best deal. Thomas Auto Center.
Mall Road, St. Clairsville.
Thomas.
Hey, add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. Hey, I could use the app. They've got great odds, unique bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive promos to let you get more action out of every single day. Right now, FanDuel is letting you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Just place a bet on any game, and FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000 back if you don't win your first bet. Hey, seriously, there's no strings attached. Just place any bet you want. If you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, you'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in site credit. So you can take another shot at the end zone on the house. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, take it from me. What are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started. Be sure to sign up with the promo code WKKX so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code WKKX. You must be 21 plus and present in West Virginia. First online real money wager only. By the way, if you have a gambling problem, just visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net.
The original Undo's in Benwood is the perfect place to enjoy the big game, great food, and the company around you. The outdoor patio is the best kept secret in Marshall County, featuring plenty of big screen HD TVs, an outdoor beer garden, and NFL and MLB packages so you don't miss a second of the action. With the holiday season fast approaching, don't forget about Undo's Catering. Perfect for holiday parties, family gatherings, conferences, weddings, or any event large or small. Check out undos.com for menus, specials, entertainment, and more. Undo's Family Restaurants, family owned since 1953.
From the Watchdog, here's your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Morning fog, then becoming sunny, high of 78. Tonight, clear skies, low of 58. And for your Friday, expect mostly sunny skies with a chance of evening rain showers and a high of 78. And that's your local weather forecast from the Watchdog.
This guy knows so much about sports. They based the Sports Almanac from Back to the Future off of his dream journal. He's Bill DeFabio, weekdays noon to 2, on the Valley's only network dedicated to live and local talk radio, The Watchdog.
Live and local for the Ohio Valley, the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
More details at the top of the hour of the Senate Judiciary Committee's confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett. They did so without any help from the Democrats. The Democrats simply decided not to show up to boycott what they feel is, and I would concur, a breaking of precedent, a breaking of fairness, and a breaking of the Senate rules, as a matter of fact, in the way this whole thing has been handled. And Democrats need to, Republicans in the Senate need to keep in mind that payback's a bitch. And hopefully when Democrats take control of the Senate in January, they too will decide to act ruthlessly to get their agenda moved forward. And when the Republicans raise a ruckus, keep in mind, you made us do this. You were the ones who did not follow the rules. You didn't follow the rules of the Senate. Specifically, for example, rules of the Senate say that at least 2 members of the opposition party must be present for a committee hearing vote. But there were none there. But they went ahead and did it anyways. There's also rules of fairness. The actual putting this vote up before Election Day, so close to Election Day, no rules of fairness. Now, Republicans have said, we don't care. They basically said, we don't care. We're going to use our power because we got it. We got the power. We're going to use it. We want someone else in the Supreme Court. But keep in mind, as I said, payback's a bitch. At some point, they're going to turn around and they, being the Democrats, hopefully, I hope they will, are going to turn around and say, now it's our turn. And don't talk to us about fairness. Don't talk to us about rules of the Senate. We got the power and we're going to use it unashamedly, just like you did. The issue will probably come up tonight as Trump and Biden have their final debate. The second, should have been third, but now it's the second and final presidential debate tonight. It's in Nashville, Tennessee. This is the one where they're going to mute the microphones of the everybody. Each candidate gets a chance to respond to a question, and while they're responding, their opponents' microphones will be muted. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Donald Trump's going to get around that rule, because I know that somehow he will make an effort to get around that rule, because he will try to force himself to center stage and to make his arguments known and heard, whether it's simply shouting loud enough to be picked up by the other microphones or wandering on stage to the other microphones. I don't know. I can tell you, I just don't think there's a shot in Hades that he's going to be sitting around waiting for Biden to finish. He's going to want to interrupt him, and that's the style that he has. The bully can only operate. Any bully can only operate when they have control of the microphone, so to speak. So we'll see what happens tonight. Tonight is that debate. Biff, do I have time for the news report from Washington News here?
Yeah, we do. We're good.
There is a religious group in West Virginia that is urging civility in tonight's debate, and indeed more civility in our entire political arena. Our friends at West Virginia News are taking a look at that. Here's Diane Bernhard.
With fireworks expected at the second presidential
Okay.
All 10 years ago, but he says it's needed even more now because he agrees that political discourse in the country has gotten worse. He says discussions have become more partisan without the ability to compromise or see what's human in an opponent.
Issues have become loyalty tests from which no one can compromise. And I think, how we would solve this would to encourage people to take a look at deeper values such as our common humanity and our call to love our neighbor.
Allen's group also is calling on officials to refrain from voter suppression, honor the votes cast, and proceed with a peaceful transition of government if one is called for. For West Virginia News Service, I'm Diane Bernard.
How cute is that? They're actually believing we can return civility to politics. Isn't that a cute belief? It ain't going to happen. I wish it would, but it's not going to happen. Quickly, and then I'll get to Brenda, because I've been waiting all morning long to get these numbers from the Secretary of State's office. 20,827 early voters in West Virginia on the first day. That does not include 6 counties that have not yet reported in. So 21,000 plus voters early voting in West Virginia. And again, we talked earlier with some numbers from Ohio County. Ohio County had about 500. And it looks like early voting is doing well. Let's welcome from WTRF-TV, Brenda Dainhardt. Good morning, Madam News Director.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Good.
Good.
What you working on today?
Well, as you know, the presidential debate is tonight, and interestingly enough, Donald Trump Jr. is going to visit the Steubenville/Wintersville area, so we will be
I didn't even think about that. That's good timing. Yeah.
The president will be on debating the vice president. But anyway, that's interesting. No matter what you think about either party, it's interesting that he'll be in the Wintersville area. So we will be there this evening. DK's got an interesting story, and I know you've seen this. You've seen the picture of the mountain lion that was being shown, and it was like a couple of days ago in the weekend or whatever. And well, they apparently tracked some things down, and a person actually had taken a picture, but it was in PA and not the Ohio Valley, and so it was shared, and just some craziness there. But I guess a lot of people then saw bobcats. And so bobcats are being seen, but not the mountain lion. So we're going to kind of figure all of that out with a wildlife expert, and he's going to say what actually was seen and not in this area, but what is being seen in this area, which are bobcats. So kind of a cool story. More testing in Marshall County today, as we know, and of course we in Ohio County had 19 positives come in because so many tests are being done now. I guess tests are just being done everywhere. So interesting. And I thought that figure that you gave on the 21,000 plus voters statewide, if that's something.
Yeah,
early
I don't know
voting.
If you had a chance to see, I don't know if you had a chance or your reporters had a chance to take a look at the early voting in Ohio County yesterday, but I did not go down, but I had several people who were there who said that the lines were at one point down the hall and out the door for a while.
Yeah, we were down there in Ohio County, but yeah, it's just, I guess it's just amazing people, people like Tony Schifolo, who's been in the business, for a long time as well, not as long as me, but a long time. And it's just going to be really, really, high numbers. We're just going to see numbers like we've never seen before. And you know what? That's okay. That's good. I'm glad people
I think
are
it is good.
voting. No matter what.
The question I have is, are they voting early and therefore fewer people will go to the polls, or are we simply seeing more people deciding to vote now? Is turnout going to be bigger, or is turnout just being spread out between mail-in ballots, early voting, and so on? I'll be curious to see how that plays out.
We won't know that until, obviously, on Election Day. And really, other than the governor here in West Virginia, and well, there's a couple, the delegate races is always, that race is always interesting, but there aren't any huge races other than the presidential. So people just have an interest, and, it's about time, because hearing people that you talk to say they've never voted before kind of amazes me, and I'm sure it amazes you as well.
Although I will say, this is a year I have not heard too many people saying I won't vote. Normally around this time of the year, I have to argue with people. Now, don't tell me you're not going to vote. You go out and vote. It's important. But I haven't heard too many people saying that this year. I think people are realizing how important their vote is on either side of the aisle. No matter who you want to support, This is going to be a critical year.
No, I agree. I agree totally about that. And, it's the next 2 weeks will be interesting. And, of course, Election Day is always interesting. Or maybe we should say the election weeks that will precede it. Who knows? Who knows?
Election weeks, that's right.
Yeah, election week.
Details coming up today. Details coming up today at noon, 5, 6, 10, 11, 5:30, the statewide show, and always at WTRF.com, right?
You got it. You have a great day.
All right, thanks, Brenda. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Hey, it's 9 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock, excuse me. I got to go. Time to say sayonara, see you, bye-bye, farewell. Brother Biff, I'm back tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. Are you back with me?
I'm back to close out the week.
We will keep on doing it till we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Last-minute drama. Democratic members boycotted the...
Okie dokie, Biffy. Another day done. One more to go. We've got John Deskins tomorrow, and I think you've got his number. I think we have to call him, correct? Okay, good. And hopefully McCabe, and see if anything happens today that I need to bring anybody else on, but that's good enough. If that's all we have, that'll get us through the day. And maybe Zach will be back. Who knows? We'll find out. Well, now I have to go out and see if there's any possible way I can convince my wife that an egg is not enough. That's what I'll get. An egg is not enough? Here, have 2 eggs. That's probably it. All right, I'm around. If you need me, give me a call. Otherwise, I'll talk to you in the morning. Thanks for your help, as always. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. You know, it's interesting, as I understand Billy wants to do more of his shows from home. And I was trying to explain to him that, you and I have developed a pretty good rapport. We can make this work, but it's not an easy thing to do till you get the pattern down, I mean, I think we've got it down that people don't even realize that I'm not there because, you and I work well together. But boy, you got to, it's just saying I'm going to do my show from home is not enough. You know what I'm saying? Right. Exactly. Oh, no. You can't do Fall Football Friday, no. I think Tuesdays make sense. Is basically an hour. That works. But I think other than that, and it's hard for me to say because I'm home all the time. But again, we've developed a pretty good rapport. We've got it down pat, I think. Boy, I don't know. I just think Tuesday is one thing, and beyond that, who knows? But we'll see. We shall see. And we'll see what happens with Donnie tonight and Senator Maroney too. Oh, yeah. It will indeed. Who are you thinking of? Yeah, I think you're probably right. All right. Like I said, if you need me, give me a call. I'm around. I'm going to try and get some breakfast and then see what happens after that. Otherwise, I'll talk to you in the morning. All right. Thanks, Biff. Appreciate it. Bye.
Saying in some cases, the parents are refusing to reunite with their children. But the ACLU says that's not a possible explanation, saying their organization nor the federal government has even been able to locate these parents.
And a safe return today to a very different world for 3 people from the International Space Station.
Soyuz has now touched down in Kazakhstan, 9:54 p.m. Central Time.
That's a call on NASA TV as the capsule touched down. One of those on board, American Chris Cassidy, who spent the last 6 months, almost the full pandemic, in space.
When we started the mission, the pandemic on Earth was just starting.